Good afternoon. Welcome back. It is Saturday, September 9th, 2023. We have a few birthdays and only a couple of events once again for this date. On this day in 1989, Bobby Hamilton won his first ever career Busch Series race at Richmond International Raceway. This was a bit of a surprise. He was driving the Fillmore car. It did show flashes of speed, but personally, I didn't find out about it till the following day on the Cup Series race telecast, where they had some highlights of that race and talked about how, had an interview with Bobby Hamilton in Victory Lane. So, and this win, I believe, helped propel Bobby into getting the role for driving one of the Days of Thunder cars, and really put Bobby Hamilton on the map, because in 1991 he got to ride with TriStar One Rookie of the Year. Then in the 1990 on this date, Dale Earnhardt won at Richmond for another win, one of his 9 wins during the 1990 season, his championship season. And this was kind of a big race for Darrell Waltrip, as it marked his return from his broken leg. Yes, he did run the race the following week at Pocono after his wreck, but he drove the first lap of the race, got out, and they put Jimmy Horton in the car, which I think was a bad move. I think, they could have really done some damage to DW's leg. And I'm sure that it had to do with DW wanting to stay up in the points and etc., etc. But this was the first race with DW back that he actually came back and ran the whole race. So anyway, with our birthdays, we're going to start off in 1937 with a driver, an independent driver. I can't call him a journeyman because he didn't hop from team to team. Pretty much ran in his own equipment every year, and you could always count on him running the qualifying races at Daytona and usually making the Daytona 500, and that would be Mr. Phil Barkdoll. Now, Phil ran his own car, number 73. Always picked up unique sponsorships. There you see X1R on his hat and in his uniform there. So that was a sponsor of his in the early 90s. He had various sponsors throughout, and Phil does do TTM, and if you write him a letter, he usually responds on the letter in kind, so really do appreciate that. So, excuse me, keep on subject here with another driver, born on this date in 1970, started in road racing, but his Cup career came to an end in, 2003, I believe, because of a crash at Richmond. Jerry Nadeau. So he was plucked from the road racing series, like the Barber Saabs and some of the other Formula series over in Europe, to drive in the Busch series. I can't think of the guy's name that he was driving for in the Busch series, but in 1998, Elliott Marino Motorsports picked him up to run for Rookie of the Year. He was released halfway through, then he went over to Melling Racing to replace the injured Lake Speed. So there's a couple looks at that original uniform that he had. Then they just had these oddball uniforms. 99, mid-99, he was released by Melling. Then he went in to fill in for the injured Ernie Irvin at MB2. Then 2000, he went to Hendrick with Michael Holligan and MH2 sponsorship through the year. Following season, 2001, of course this is dated 2002, he had UAW Delphi. Near the end of 2002, he went to the Army car that Joe Nemechek was vacating. No, Joe Nemechek wasn't vacating it. Who was vacating the Army car? I can't remember. It's been so long. Yeah, I think Nemechek was vacating it because Nemechek went to the 25. So anyway, Nadeau was in the 01 for a little over a year and change. Maybe it was 04 when he was injured. But I'm looking at the back of the card here. Maybe it'll give me some information, because there was the Fontana race, his last race. So 2003 was when he was injured. This just happens to be a 2004 card, because they were uncertain about his return. So we'll look at a few of the cars. I don't have the Army car. I tried to find one, but this is the Elliott Marino Motorsports, done up in, of course, Miami Dolphins colors with Dan Marino's number 13. Here's one of the paint schemes with the Melling team, who had the Cartoon Network sponsorship. And another one, got Tom and Jerry on the quarter panel there. I'm not sure who's on the hood. Can't see that one. Then they had WCW, one of the Turner brands, on their car. There's the Michael Holligan car. I always liked this car. It was an underrated paint scheme, in my opinion. And then there's the UAW Delphi car. Like I said, I don't have any of the 0-1 car, but if you've ever seen this... Okay, the car that Mark Martin finished second at the Daytona 500 with, that photo finish with Harvick, it was that car, just a different ownership. Because MB2 was later sold to DEI. Or it merged with the... I'm sorry, let's retract that. MB2 was sold to Bobby Ginn, who eventually merged with DEI. So we go to our next birthday. Born on this day, coincidentally, and you'll see why, in 1942, former car owner Felix Sabates, because his original foray into the Cup Series had the number 42. It's a good picture of the iconic mellow yellow car that Kyle Petty drove. So Felix started in the late 80s. 1989 was his first part-time season. And I actually believe he fielded cars for Rob Moroso in 1988 in the Cup Series a couple times just to get their feet wet. And there's a rare look at a 42 paint scheme that never did hit the track. That's one thing I liked about these classic, or the Finish Line Classic series from 95, is there was always some oddball stuff in the background that never made it. Felix the businessman, looks like he's on the front stretch of that's not Talladega, is it? Looks like Talladega with the long straightaway there, but why would they have the cars right there? Hard to say. There's another one of Felix with the Coors Light branding. Of course, he would sell out eventually to Chip Ganassi, and then completely sell out a few years ago before Ganassi sold to Trackhouse. So the Trackhouse roots can actually be traced to Felix Sabates if you really, really want to go down that road. Part of the Trackhouse. That would be the one car, because the Trackhouse one has DEI and Sabco roots. So we're going to continue with our final birthday of the day. Born on this day in 1956, a championship-winning crew chief. And I hope this guy eventually gets in the Hall of Fame. He does TTM as well. But I think his accomplishments on track and off the track later in the booth and speak for themselves. Mr. Jeff Hammond. Now, Hammond, of course, won championships with Darrell Waltrip over at Junior Johnson, but here he is with Sabco. There he is with Darrell Waltrip's self-owned team, Darwall Inc., as it was called at the time. Then they changed it to Darrell Waltrip Incorporated. There's another one with the Western Auto colors. There he is with Kenny Wallace's first run in the Cup Series with Felix. Then he was with Kyle for a little bit with the Mellow Yellow car. And he was actually with Roush for a bit at the end of his career with Chad Little. And there's the 40 team that Sabates had started after a few years. Bobby Hamilton, I believe, was the driver in 95. And then again, back with the Western Auto team here. So we just kind of hopped all over the board. We didn't go chronologically with Hammond, but I do hope, honestly, that he makes it in the Hall of Fame. I feel that he's got the credentials. I feel that he's got the name value and everything associated with being a Hall of Famer. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we will see you tomorrow.